Hey guys, it's Wayne from WRPB and WRPB Studios. And today we're going to talk about an interesting topic, and it's gotten so popular that they even built a show around this, okay? And not his company, but his company does what this show shows you. And with me is Rick Gava from BOXHAUS Designs.
Correct.
So when you hear BOXHAUS Designs, I think about times when really tough in my life, where I'd be living under an overpass in a refrigerator box.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, which is probably around 10 square feet. You build small homes.
We do.
Tiny homes.
Tiny homes, yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, they're usually 400 square feet or under.
Okay.
Usually the average size we build is about 200 to 240 square feet.
Wow.
Most of them are on a single level, so there's ease of access to the bedroom, the kitchen, the full-size bathroom. And we got a couple loft models that, are definitely more for college, younger.
Yeah, I'm too old to walk up any ladders or stairs.
Yeah, those stairs are a little tricky to maneuver sometimes, but...
What got you into this?
Well, I mean, back in the day, 15 years ago, I lived in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and there's sort of a housing shortage over there, and a client of mine bought a campground, and he wanted to convert that into like affordable, attainable housing. A lot of politics back then, and still, I'm sure right now in Jackson Hole with trying to get some things done. They shut him down, but he had room for about 120 RVs, and got to brainstorming, and we figured we'd do some tiny homes initially, and then he turned it into a pretty nice resort, So,
it's interesting because there's a TV show called Tiny Houses or something like that.
Yeah, Tiny House Nation.
Yeah.
There's other things
So
out
it's
there.
become mainstream, and a lot of people are going, hey, cool, because I can stay there and then I can go travel and go and come, and I don't have to worry about a big house. In my 20s and 30s, I had a big house. Today, for me, I just want something that I can go to, lock up, and then go away.
Yeah.
So I get it. And a friend of mine, I was telling you before, had a small home, and he's a big guy, okay? And he had a tiny home, and I don't want to say it's a full kitchen, but he had full appliances.
Right.
He had a full-size bathroom. I told you he was a big guy, over 400 pounds.
Yep.
And he lived in that home for a year. If he can live in that home for a year, anybody can live in that home for a year. So one of the things that you told me that was interesting is I can come to you and say, hey, I want this here, and I can design the home any way I want?
Correct, yeah. They're all custom designed. And again, we take into account, your location, your views, whatever it might be, the factors that would, dictate the design materials, exterior materials, door locations, things like that. So,
why did you limit yourself to 400 and not if I wanted a 500 square foot home? Why is the limitation?
We could do modular design built also. The 400 square feet is usually the cutoff for it to be considered a tiny home, modular home, or non-modular, I should say, park model home for just codes and RV industry kind of a thing is what we fall under. So we're considered an RV. We're definitely built, 10 times better than an RV. Insulation, materials, everything's built like a house, only it's small, and it's usually on the chassis wheels.
Okay, and I was going to ask you that.
Right, there's codes and things that there's...
So you don't bring it and then lay it on a concrete thing. I mean, I guess I could if I wanted.
We could. We could skirt it. We could take the axles, the wheels off, and set it down, anchor it to a concrete or foundation that you might have. So
so how do most people anchor those homes?
Well, again, most of them are just they remain on the chassis with the wheels on, and then we'll strap it down to, if they have a concrete pad, there's ways to bolt that down to a concrete pad, or there's these other, they're like corkscrews that go in the ground and
hold it down.
Yeah, holds it down for high winds. But most of the things that we design don't stay in Florida. Actually, some do, but a lot of them go. The last one we had went up to California. So, they have different, they don't have the hurricanes, but they do have to have the fires over there. So we designed this one to be a little bit more fireproof with metal siding, with some cool little wood inlay areas that kind of break up the volume of the structure. So we just kind of have fun with different.
And I asked you
clients.
this before. It's big enough to make basically like a one bedroom, like a room in the back.
Absolutely.
You could build a wall and a door there if you wanted to. One of the other interesting things that you might not know is that the bathrooms are not an RV bathroom, right? They're full size?
Full size. Most of them are full size. Yep.
Well, and again, I guess it depends on what people want.
Correct.
And how you want to design it. So I come to you and you show me some designs, and then we can work off of those designs if we wanted to make some changes.
Correct.
Okay, so I come to you, now I pick a design, and I guess I could pick colors and whatever, just like a
Just
car.
like a car, like I don't know.
Or a house.
Your clothes. I don't know.
Okay, so I pick this stuff. I'm guessing that I'll give you a deposit. From start to finish, delivery time, usually.
Usually 2 to 3 months, depending on, again, the window package, if it's off-the-shelf materials, if we have to order these windows from, where Color, Anderson, whatever it might be.
Right.
So about 2 to 3 months, because we got to kind of wait on, windows are actually
Your biggest weight.
the biggest weight. It's usually a month and a half sometimes. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, back to the philosophy of the tiny house or the 400 square foot home. Do you get people who have a house, but they have a piece of land more west or more in the rural area that they just want to go to and get away, they put a fire pit and whatever?
Absolutely.
Is that like a big part
That's
of
actually probably the majority of our clients are, not only do they have a house and maybe, want to have a cabin somewhere else, but they have a house, but they need more room in that house. In-laws, friends that come and visit, so they will put one of these tiny homes next to their bigger homes. So they have a little, again, there could be a man cave, a she shed, whatever it might be.
It doesn't burn down.
Yeah.
So now you bring up another point. So I decide that I want one, and I want to put it in my backyard, so that I could put friends and family when they come, because I don't really want them in my house.
That's right. That's right. Keep them away.
What kind of permits do I need?
Good question. Not a very good answer, because it's very, it's based, county to county, city to city.
Right.
From what I've kind of heard here recently is that Florida can't deny sort of an auxiliary unit to be put if you have a main house. Now, if you're building or if you're buying a piece of land somewhere in a community or in a city, that's when it kind of gets a little tricky to be able to put this as your primary unit. But again, I'm still
I get it. I mean, if you're buying in and there's an HOA, you're definitely going to have a problem. You can't have a pet. More or less a house.
Right.
Okay, but if you're in unincorporated and you're not in a HOA community, I would think that it's almost like a shed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or an RV.
Or an
If
RV.
you can park an RV next to your house, you can kind of park this. Now, the other tricky part is, because it's habitable. How long can people stay? Can they come and just crash for a week? But again, it's catching on, because Airbnb and VRBO and all, everybody wants to stay in these cute little tiny homes. So
the concern that, of course, a lot of you guys would probably have, or the question, which I asked him before we got on the air, was hookups. So basically, I could set it up to plug and play, run right into my power, right into my
your
panel.
Power panel, right?
Okay, and water right there, and sewer, depending on what you have, depending on, I'm going to guess depending on the location. But I guess if you can put it near where there's sewerage, then you can have a plumber come in and do it. Okay.
Well, it's RV hookups basically, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, we got the 3-inch pipe for waste coming out. You got a hose connection for the water, and then just a plug 50 amp outlet, or again, you could get an electrician to come in and connect it more permanently to your panel. And again, if you don't have access to that, again, you can go off the grid with solar panels. You can use a generator. That's very.
And you bring up a good point, because when you say hook up electric, through my mind goes, all right, so I could have an electrician come and do the same thing he did for my generator, where I plug my generator into the socket in the wall. So I could have a socket put outside where I can plug a unit in or take it out. Do a lot, because it's still on wheels and stuff. Is it towable by a car? I mean, a truck?
Oh, yeah, but definitely a truck. We just got a new model out here in the past couple of weeks. That's only 6,000, probably 6,500 when it's completely finished. You can tow that with an SUV, a full-size SUV,
Right.
not a little four-cylinder
No,
SUV.
I get that.
Yeah.
So if you're like one of those people that, and we reach a lot of you guys that do run your quads, go out west, you can just dump this on the land where you're going.
There you go.
Okay, with basic hookup. And you were talking about different kind of ways to do the sewage. So you can do into a well, into a septic.
Right, you can tie into the septic, existing sewer. If you're off the grid,
Right.
We will install holding tanks that you could eventually kind of clean out once a month, or compost toilets. There's.
So instead of driving this camper around with you, you have a house wherever you go, not a camper. Because when you go in a camper, I don't know how many of you have been in a camper, but if you weigh more than 60 pounds, you can't fit through the door to the bathroom. And you can only be 20 pounds. You have to be super skinny to fit into a shower, if there is even a shower in there.
Correct.
Okay,
yeah.
and these are like full-size full-size things.
Yep.
All right, we're getting to the top of our time. How do people reach you? You have a website?
I do have a website. It's www.boxhaus.com. That's spelled BOXHAUS. Yeah, maybe that's why
Tricky.
people don't find me so good. 'Cause I like typing in box house,
Right.
the American spelling. But
So you have BOXHAUS. You have a phone, or
I got a phone number on the website. I mean, you want me to give?
No, you don't. I mean, you could if you
okay.
wish, but you have a contact us on your website.
I do, absolutely.
The units are built in America. Okay, so what you're doing is you're supporting people locally here on the Treasure Coast, but it was interesting because you said a lot of units don't stay on in Florida at all.
Right.
We were talking about transport, and I guess that's an interesting thing, and there's logistics with that. And all those things you don't have to worry about, because they do. If you purchase a unit and you say, hey, we're going to drop it here, if you want, they'll come out, they'll do the hookups for you, right? You have the ability to do all the
Absolutely.
hookups.
Yeah.
So they have everything really available. So go to www.boxhaus.com. Check them out. Check out what they got on their website, and check them out. Call them and ask them about it. It's a new trend. With that, Rick, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Everybody have a great day, and
All
we'll be
right.
right back.
Take care.